Let's talk about a subject that is very interesting for me because I had an experience that not everybody will have in this life. And it's not that you have to have this experience, but I made it and I thought it was quite funny. I was on a TV show and in Germany, but I was on a very specific TV show. I was on a TV show called not Naked Attraction. Is kind of similar to Naked Attraction, so you're naked on an island, but the format more like Adam is searching for Eve, something more like that. You know, it's like not like Naked Attraction, but it's similar as I understand. The thing is, I never applied for that show, and that's a true statement, because I was like working somewhere in Croatia, and I was in a coffee and I saw like an advertisement. It was a German TV going on and saying, oh, who wants to be the next bachelor, just right here and here. And I was like, with my laptop, so I opened up the page and I applied for the bachelor. And 5 or 10 minutes later, they actually called me and we had a little talk about the bachelor, and they said they would be interested, but I have to go through a lot of phases. So I went through a lot of phases, and in the end, they didn't take me. Not everybody is meant for the bachelor. I think I didn't have that much money. I think the bachelor also has to have money, which I didn't have at that point. Well, it's not that much for being a bachelor, because you should be the prime person that everybody wants to be, if charming, rich, and everything. Okay, I just had 2 of them, but not the rich part. Who cares anyway? So, but I was in their database, and then a couple of years later, I got a call and it was like, hey. We have in our database, there is this show called Adam sucht Eva, like Adam is searching for Eve. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, why not? I mean, come on. At that time, I was breaking up with my girlfriend anyway, and I thought like, you know what, that's really like, this is a good point of why not resetting everything and going to this show. So I went to the show, and I had no idea. So basically, it's a little bit different. How it works, because it's like famous people are coupled with non-famous people, and I was coupled with a girl that was in a German TV show. She was kind of famous, I guess, but nothing that I knew about, and I even forgot when I was in there that there was this thing with who is famous and us and not. Anyway, so I was coupled with her, and we met at the beach, and you're naked from that point onwards. So, and then you literally are naked. The whole thing was 4 weeks of filming, I guess, what I remember now. And the experience that I want to talk with you today is about the thing that I learned about nakedness, because once you're really 4 weeks naked, you really see the world a little bit different, because let's face it, most people in their life, except when they're babies, but not even then, are not that long naked as we were. And I came up with 3 or 4 ideas, or like epiphanies, let's say it like this, that came out when I was doing this naked show. And the first one was that clothes are very, very important to talk, because when we were having the talk, for example, we had a lot of intimate dates, like very like one-on-one. Sometimes we're in a group, sometimes we're in a one-on-one. And in this date, I had one where we were basically having healing dirt. I don't know, I'm sorry, sometimes my words are not so good, but it was kind of healing dirt that you put on your body. And it was like a romantic date where you put it on her and she puts on me. And what did we put on after being so long naked? She put me like a t-shirt on, and I put her a bra on, something kind of like that. And then it got very hard. And during that time, we started to talk a lot about feelings and deep feelings, okay? Deep feelings. And then came a moment where we decided to wash it all off. So we went, because there was an island, we were close to the ocean. So we went to the ocean and we washed it all off. And we went back and we wanted to keep on talking, but we couldn't anymore. And this is where I realized that this thing is kind of a protection. You need to have clothes on to be able to have a deep talk. Okay, this is my first epiphany that I had. But then I was thinking a little bit more. I think there is only one other time when you can really, really deeply talk about with a person, and that's after having intercourse. Only after that, because then all of this is gone and you can really talk deep about it. Or if not, then with the clothes. So the clothes are very, very, very important to be able to talk more about feeling. It's kind of a protection, I realized. It's the second part. What I realized is we had like men and girls, and like men and women, of course, and they were all naked all the time. The guys became more and more comfortable with time being naked. So it was more and more easier for us being naked. Just the first few days were a little bit hard, but then we just accustomed, and it was not a big deal for us being naked. But for the women, I saw that it became more and more difficult. So it's quite interesting that women feel more and more uncomfortable being naked for a long time than guys, because obviously, women naked don't really change that much. You don't really see the difference when she's getting, let's say, aroused or something. But guys, you see it immediately. That's why it's so much more difficult for guys being naked than for women. You don't see it with women. Of course, you don't. And so this is the second thing that I took out of this show, that naked women and naked guys, that it's much easier for guys to be naked than for women. And the third part was that, so when we went inside this camp, there were already naked people. So I met most of the people that I saw the first time in my life. I saw them naked, okay, completely naked. And after we had these games, and then we had this like elections, and somebody had to leave. And one gag was, at the end, when they had to leave, they were allowed to put on their clothes in front of us so we could see how they are in real life. And boy, I'm telling you, sometimes when they put the clothes on, I was like, holy moly, this is such a different personality all of a sudden. It was not the same person anymore that I have created in my head. So yes, clothes do make people, and it matters so much how you dress yourself and how you'd want to be perceived in the world. Believe me, this is up, but you only can see this when you get to know a person naked, and later, much later, you see how she or he dresses in real life. This epiphany, when I saw that, I was like, no way, this is so weird. But the funny part was, there was one person that left. She was from Vienna, and she left, but somehow in circumstances, I think we didn't have time or something, she just left totally. So we didn't have the chance to see her anymore in clothes. And after the show, I think we wrapped up in August, I was in Vienna again in November, and I called her and I said, hey, let's go for a coffee. And Vienna at that time is very cold. And she said, oh, let's meet there and there in that corner. And I was at that corner, and I was waiting there, and I saw another woman standing close to me, but I didn't realize that it was her. I didn't realize that it was her. But why didn't I realize? Because I was completely in my head seeing still this naked person that I've seen for weeks in this naked camp, and then all of a sudden she was there in front of me with a, like a long jacket or something, and I just didn't realize it was her. So this is so crazy when you go through this, that you really see these three things. This is the biggest three things that I took out of the show. And aftermath, yes, we won the show. We even had to marry during the show, but it wasn't, it's television. It's television. I hoped after we won the show that somehow I will stay a little bit more in this TV circus, but it wasn't meant for me. It doesn't say that it's over forever. Who knows? It's always one call away. It can always come a new version or something and say, hey, what about this guy that won that show and that year? Is he still available? Something like this. You never know. I will not say no. Of course, it always depends how life is and how is your life circumstances in that point and so on. But if it works out, why not? I will not say no. It is quite interesting. I will make another video about how it is, or what my views are when you've been inside of one of these shows. But this one was specifically about being naked, and I don't mind that I did it. Sometimes people talk about it with me. Sometimes I even forget it. Hey, it's just part of life.